my name is Alec Etheridge. For those of you who do not know me, I am the sports editor here at the Shelby County Reporter. And I know I teased to some exciting news on our Facebook pages and on our Twitter accounts the other day. So I really just want to go ahead and dive in and get started and not make you guys wait any longer. So there's three things we're going to talk about in this video. We've got our football magazine is going to be the first thing, which will be coming out soon. And then we'll have a special announcement that we're going to make regarding football coverage this fall that I'm particularly excited about. And then we'll also do a little bit of a special segment here at the end of the video that I hope you guys will stay tuned in for. So the first thing I want to talk about is the football magazine, which we actually just finished up this past week and is sent off to press. It should be back to our office this Thursday in time for us to put in next Wednesday, August the 23rd, Shelby County Reporter. So be on the lookout for that. But we also have a special announcement regarding the football magazine, and that's that we're going to have 4 different covers this year. We'll have the overall Shelby County cover that'll be given out in the paper. And then on that first Football Friday, August the 25th, at each home game, we'll start giving out magazines, including that one at specific schools. But then we also have 3 special editions with special covers. So we'll have 4 total different covers this year, and all of them look outstanding. We've put in a lot of hard work over the past month and a half in this magazine, from me doing all the content to Keith taking photos and Jamie Dawkins doing the design. My content is what it is, but what I'm really excited about is the design that Jamie put into the magazine. It looks incredible. I've been a big football fan my entire life and have gone and gotten the preseason magazines such as Lindy's and Athlon, and I think this seriously might be one of the best, not just magazine covers that I've ever seen, but all the way through. The design is just incredible. It's just got a creative, a light flow to it, a new look this year that I think you guys are going to find to be really nice and enjoy. So I hope you do enjoy it and are on the lookout for those 4 special covers and see which 4 athletes were put on those covers. It's going to look really good, and I have a feeling that a lot of fan bases are going to be excited just from looking through the magazine alone, but also with the special covers that we've got. So that's exciting news, number 1. We also have an exciting announcement to make regarding coverage this fall that I came up with a couple of weeks back, really just on a whim. And this is my first full season as the sports editor here at the Reporter, meaning that I'm going to be covering all different kind of sports, all different kind of teams throughout. But it starts in the fall with football, and I'm really excited about the freedom that I have, and I wanted to kind of bring more attention and light to athletes, to coaches, to the fans, all that kind of stuff. And I thought, what better way than what you're watching right now? We're going to start putting together a weekly video recap on Sunday afternoons that are going to look back at the past Friday night's matchups and everything that happened. And then we'll also, at the end of each episode, we're going to name a player of the week, which I think is the most exciting thing. Of course, you guys are going to love that as fans, as parents, as players, and then coaches. The thing you'll like about it is that it's not always just going to be naming a certain guy as the player of the week. It could be an entire unit, whether it be the offensive line or the linebacking unit or wide receivers, so on. It could be a whole group of players. It could also be an entire team, depending on how an entire team plays. I just think this is a great way to really bring to light the athletes, the jobs the coaches are doing, the parents raising these kids, the fans, and supporting all of these schools. But there's just so much hard work put in by the athlete, especially at the high school level, balancing school and all that kind of stuff. And I just thought it would be a good idea to bring some attention to them for all the hard work that they have put in. So we're going to do some different things. This is kind of a stripped down version of it. We're going to add some video clips, especially leading in, and do some other little segments throughout that'll change each week and kind of keep things fresh. But the most exciting part is going to be the player of the week. And then at the end, I'll also name a game of the week for that next Friday night that either I will be at or one of my many co-workers will be at. We'll have Graham Brooks back this year covering Helena. We'll have Stephen Dawkins out at all of our Spain Park games. And then we'll have Eric Starling at most Thompson games. I'll be at a game a week as well. And then Chris Megginson's going to be out doing a bunch of good stuff for us also. So it's just going to be an exciting thing, I feel like, and a really good way to bring to light all the work that the coaches, the parents, the fans, and athletes put into making high school football great around this area. I've grown up here. I went to Leeds up until 7th grade and then ended up graduating from Spain Park. So I'm from the area and know how important high school football and fall Friday nights are. So I just want to make it as exciting as possible. I want to make the most of this opportunity, not only for myself, but I want to try to make you guys enjoy it with me and enjoy the ride. And I think this is going to work out. I hope you guys will like, share, and then comment any suggestions you have that I can do to make this better. Because if it's successful enough, my goal is to do this throughout the year with all sports. This is kind of a test run. We'll see how it goes, but I really would like to do it going into basketball season and then into the spring with the million spring sports that we have going on. But like I said, my first year being the sports editor, I'm just really excited about that opportunity and want to make the most of it with you guys as well. The third thing we're going to do is a little bit of a special segment to give you guys kind of a sneak peek of what the season's going to be like on Sunday afternoons, as well as the Friday night coverage we'll get with all those guys at the games and the stories we'll have posted. But we're going to do a little bit of a segment to where I'm going to give you 3 things to watch this year. And that's going to start with the top 3 teams in the county. You know, we had 4 teams named to the preseason top 10 for their respective classification this past week. Spain Park being number 7 in Class 7A, Thompson being number 3 in Class 7A, and then Montebello being number 5 in Class 3A, and Briarwood, the highest of those 4, at number 2 in Class 5A. All have great shots at a state championship this year if they live up to their expectation and play to the capability that they can actually play to. So we'll just I'm going to run down the top 3 of those teams in Briarwood, Thompson, and Montebello and give you some 3 keys to watch from them this season. So the Montebello Bulldogs are going to be our number 3 team to watch this season in Shelby County. They came in as the number 5 ranked team in the 3A classification to start the season. They return a lot of guys on both sides of the ball, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, but they also get a lot back offensively. They do, however, have to replace some key guys offensively. That's going to start with Zach Oden at the quarterback position. He threw for 3,000-plus yards, 30-plus touchdowns a season ago. And a lot of that production went to wide receiver Daquan Bryant, who's a 1,000-plus yard receiver. They do have Tavarius Holman in the waiting, ready to step into that receiver role as the lead guy. He was a 900-plus yard receiver last year on the team as the second leading receiver. So to be able to replace Bryant with that kind of production should help them not miss as much of a beat as they could have. And they also have their third leading receiver back and a couple of guys that transferred in that should make them just fine at the receiver position. Tyler Olds is going to come over from his linebacking spot and get a few more carries at the running back position offensively, and he's a big guy that's one of the best linebackers in the state and should help them out on offense as well. So the offense overall, it's going to take them some time to transition into it, but Coach Wilcox does such a great job at helping the offense be as good as they can be, and they put up some crazy numbers every year. I expect the same this year once we get into the meat of the season in the region schedule. But the defensive side of the ball is going to keep them in the game, in games early in the season anyways, with the return of Olds at the linebacker spot and Demetrius Smith on the defensive line. Those 2 guys combined for 258 tackles, 55 tackles for loss, and 19 sacks a season ago. And so those 2 alone could really anchor an entire defense. But the amount of guys they have coming back around them, you have the receivers transitioning to the secondary. You have a lot of the big offensive linemen that will play on both sides of the defensive line as well. They're just one of the better 3A teams out there, and they're deserving of their ranking. If they play up to their capability and these guys play similar to what they did last year, they're going to make a run deep into the playoffs, and they should make a run at the region championship. I know that Gordo's always a tough out and has really created somewhat of a dynasty, but they lose a lot of talent off their team this year too. So Montebello's got a chance this year to take that next step. They've been great the last couple of years. And under Andrew Zhao as the head coach, and then transitioning into Coach Wilcox's first year last year. So I fully expect them to compete for the region championship this year, and wouldn't be surprised if they came out on top, making them our number 3 team in the county to watch. So the number 2 team to watch in Shelby County this season is a team that you've probably already heard talked about a lot. They've been hyped up, I want to say, more than anybody else in the state going into 2017, and that's the Thompson Warriors. Thompson comes in as the number 3 preseason team in the 7A classification, which is one of the toughest classifications in high school football, really in the Southeast, in my opinion. So to get that kind of honor is a big deal for Coach Freeman going into his third season, and these guys that are coming back. And there's good reason behind that. Last year they were a team that was 8 points away from being 8-0 and undefeated going into a matchup with Hoover that would have determined a region championship. But instead, they lost those 3 games early in the season by 3 points or less, one of which came by 2 points. So they were right there on the verge of an unbelievable breakthrough season a year ago, and that's mainly thanks to the defensive side of the ball that only gave up 9 points per game. But on the offensive side, there were some question marks and there were some costly turnovers, including pick sixes, that led to them that 9 points per game going up more towards 16 points per game because of the offensive turnovers giving up points as well. On the defensive side this year, though, they returned a lot of that talent back and should be one of the top defenses in the state. And on the offensive side, they have that key puzzle piece, which is why everybody is hyping them up. Talia Tagovailoa coming in, transferring from Hawaii, who was one of the top quarterbacks in Hawaii last year and was, I believe, 66 yards away from breaking the all-time high school passing record there. His older brother, a freshman at Alabama, Tua Tagovailoa, is going to be one of their future quarterbacks, and that's the main reason that Talia decided to make the trip over. He and his family wanted to be closer, and he is now considered one of the top quarterbacks, high school quarterbacks in the country, and he luckily ended up at Thompson for the Warriors, and that gives them that missing puzzle piece. They have on offense their top 2 running backs back in Chadrick Byrd and Joseph Ford. They have 3-year starting receivers returning in Sam Holmes, Alonde Vassar, and Mo Edwards. Also joining them to make that crew even better is going to be Montebello transfer and cousin of Mo Edwards. It's going to be Ahmad Edwards, who 2 years ago was a second-team All-State guy. Last year he set out with an injury, but for him to come in and add that 4th guy, and in addition, they have Kyle Smoke, who is shown in 7A or in 7-on-7 this summer, that he's a guy that can catch the ball and step up if needed as well. So they have all that offensive talent to go with the defense. It's going to be unbelievable. And not to mention Amari Kite on the offensive line blocking for them as well as some other key offensive linemen. So this offense should really pick up the slack that it let go last year. This is going to be a team that can score points this year and really put up some big points and some big numbers. And that's got to be exciting for the fan base, considering they were so close in those games last year that they can score that extra touchdown needed this year. But the defense shouldn't miss a beat this year. Coach Freeman has expressed some concern on the defensive line, some depth issues. But Mackie McNeil's a solid big guy, I believe around 6'5", 315, somewhere in that range, and he can really block up the middle of that line and keep guys from getting through there, and also put a pressure on the quarterback. But behind him at the linebacker position, you have 2 seniors that are 4-year starters, been playing on the varsity squad since they were freshmen at Thompson. That's going to be Jalen Raheem and KJ Robertson. Those 2 guys are guys that are all-state worthy linebackers this year and could put up some big numbers. And will keep this defense around 9 points per game again, if not less. This could be one of the best defenses in the country or in the state, just simply because of those 2 guys. And behind them, one step further, is going to be Miles Brown in the secondary, who is like Donnelly over at Briarwood, one of the better secondary players in the county and state last season. He should be able to handle that position with ease coming back for his senior year. They will have some upperclassmen surrounding him, but some new guys coming into that position. Overall, though, as a team, there's a lot of hype surrounding Thompson this season, but it's well warranted. I know Coach Freeman wants to keep his guys in check, and you don't want to get carried away and think it's just going to be handed to you, because they are going to have to work for it. But with the talent they have, they should be able to put up much more in the way of points per game this season and really be one of the top teams in the state. I do see them ending their 10-year playoff drought, which dates back to 2006. Whether they make it far in the playoffs is going to be up to injury and health. They've got to stay healthy. If they have any injuries, specifically at the linebacker or quarterback position, then they can struggle. That could be where the misfortune comes in handy. But they stay healthy. This team's a favorite to compete for the state championship, and really a favorite to compete in the toughest region, Class 7A Region 3, that features Spain Park, Oak Mountain, Hoover, Vestavia, Mountain Brook, teams like that. And so it's going to be a fun ride to watch to see if they can make that hurdle. But I really do fully expect this year to be a solid year and the breakthrough year for the Thompson Warriors, and one that they've been waiting on for a long time. And that's why Thompson is our number 2 team to watch this season. That's right. So the Briarwood Lions are going to be our number 1 team to watch in Shelby County this year. They came in as the number 2 team in the 5A preseason rankings, and for very good reason. They have so much talent back on both sides of the ball. From a team that made a run all the way to the 5A semifinals a season ago, where they faced off against Winona and lost a tough 14-8 matchup at home. It was a rematch of a game they had played earlier in the season on the road, where they actually beat Winona 15-14. So they really feel like they have some unfinished business and can make that next leap this year into the state championship game, and for good reason with the amount of talent they have coming back. Starting on the offensive side of the ball, J.R. Tranrino, leading rusher on last year's team, is back this year. He was a sophomore that ran for 984 yards and 5 touchdowns against 5A varsity defenses. That's unbelievable numbers to put up. He also had a key kickoff return in that semifinal game against Winona, showing just what kind of athletic ability he has, which is going to come in handy as they look to replace William Gray at the quarterback position. Tranrino's a guy that can run the Wildcats, actually the backup quarterback this season, so he can throw the ball and he can catch the ball out of the backfield whenever needed as well. Transitioning into that quarterback role is going to be Michael Ayers to replace Gray. Ayers is a guy that pushed Gray to the limits last year heading into the season for the starting quarterback position. He came up just a little bit short, but not much. And the coaching staff is excited about that because they know that Ayers has what it takes to really step into that role and be the starting quarterback. He's a lot like Gray in the fact that he can be nimble and move out of the pocket and make the throws on the run or escape and run upfield. He also has a great arm that I saw for the first time in a basketball game last year when he made a full court pass and really impressed me. It was right on the number all the way down the court, so not too worried about his arm strength at all either. But it's really on the defensive side of the ball that this team's got to be excited. There's some question marks up front on the defensive line, but behind that at the linebacker position and a step further back at the secondary position, there's 3 key guys coming back that I'm going to tell you about. It starts at the linebacking position with Gabe Russell and Mark Hand. Mark Hand led the team last year, like Tranrino, as a sophomore with tackles, and he and Gabe combined for 275 tackles a season ago, an unbelievable number. Russell's going to bring back that kind of senior leadership this year on the defense, while Mark Hand is a guy that, like I said, coming in from his sophomore season, has an extra year of experience and is a young guy that can really lead this defense from that position. Those 2 guys combined are going to back up that defensive line perfectly if there are any question marks up front. And then you step back a step further into the secondary, and you have Carson Donnelly coming back, who is really one of the best secondary players, not only in the county last year, but the state, with the amount of pass breakups, interceptions, that kind of things. I think he had 75 tackles as well. So he's one of those guys that creates an extra level of protection back there, but it's already going to be hard enough to run on this team or throw on this team. He's got some upperclassmen joining him in the secondary, as well as Russell and Hand at the linebacker position. So those back few guys are going to be locked down and make it tough for any team to throw or run, and give Briarwood really one of the state's best defenses for the second year in a row. Now, whether they can make that leap and jump into the state championship game is a different question. I fully expect them to win their region again this year with the talent they have back and make it to the playoffs. I don't think there's any doubt they'll make the playoffs. But whether they can make that run is something that's yet to be seen. I feel like with this talent they have coming back, the experience level of those guys that know how to make it to the semifinals can help them get back to that position. And once they get back there, there's going to be so much focus and determination to make it that one step further that they have such a strong shot to do so this year. And that's why I fully expect the Lions to be my favorite to win the 5A state championship, and the reason they are the number 1 team to watch in Shelby County in 2017. So if you tuned in for this entire episode, I really do appreciate it. Like I said, this is just something that came into my mind a couple weeks back that would be a good idea to kind of bring more light and attention to not only the county and the athletes in the county, but the jobs that everybody's doing, the school system, the coaches, the athletes, the parents, the communities. It's just such a fun place to be. I've lived here my entire life and in Leeds until 7th grade, and then graduated from Spain Park. So I know how important fall Friday nights are for high school football around this area, and just wanted to bring as much attention to it as I possibly could. This is just something that I hope will help me to engage with you guys, because I love what I do and I want you to see that. And I want to bring as much attention to the county, to the athletes as possible. So that's the goal with this entire thing. So make sure you tune in every Sunday. Next Sunday is going to be the first episode, full episode that we're going to do. We have this coming Friday night, we have 5 total football games to kick off the season, 3 in the AISA and 2 in the ACSC. So I'll be out at a couple of those games as well as some of my coworkers, and we'll bring you the best coverage for those to kick off the season. And next Sunday we'll do a recap show looking back at those games, and then we'll look ahead to the big games that come up that first Friday night in the AHSAA. We've got some big matchups, some rematches that started off last season that I know a lot of teams are looking forward to, a lot of fans are looking forward to. So we'll kind of just break down this coming Friday night, and then we'll break down that first week in the AHSAA as well. So for now, don't forget, the magazine will be out on Wednesday, August the 23rd, and on that first night of AHSAA action, be on the lookout for those magazines. We're going to have 4 covers for you guys, all of them that look great. So just be on the lookout for that. But if you don't mind, go and follow us on Twitter over at SCR Sports or at my personal account at Alec Etheridge. Give me your feedback on there. Give me the feedback on the Facebook page and the video here. Let me know what we can do to improve and make this as good as possible. So right now, I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I can't wait for a great season and hope you all enjoy the ride with me.